I welcome you all with love and with consciousness. In today's world, truth is a problem. Of course, there are different levels of the truth, and since my focus is spiritual, the real thing is the real truth, which is we are the spark of the divine. We are the embodiment of the divine on the planet. And in today's world, that's a dangerous concept. That human beings could be holy. In this world where there's so much planned chaos and hate and division, how does this work? It's a problem. Because if you really know the truth, you just can't play the hatred game, and you can't play the blame game, and you actually have to take responsibility. Now, was it you're taking responsibility? You have to take responsibility that we have a soul. And when we connect with that soul, it changes our perception of the world. It brings us to unity. It brings us to peace. It brings us to love. It brings us to oneness. And we can't play the game of divisiveness or sexism or racism or all the other division games that are being played, because they're just not the truth. I mean, there's some level of truth, but in the deeper level, they're not the truth. Because at the deeper level, we're all one. It's as simple as that. We are all one. There's just no way of getting around it. That's the deep cosmic truth of who we are. And so you can see when you're trying to create division, confusion, and chaos, that level of truth is definitely a problem, because it's totally unconnected to reality. The divisiveness and all the divisions we think of how to happen are unconnected to the reality of who we are as human beings. So when we look at what's going on, if we can step back, which is the key, a lot of people call me, they're concerned what's going on, what to do. And actually what to do is simply to remember who you are. That's it. Once we remember who we are, and we begin to experience our connection with the soul, then we can remember the next step, because we begin to experience the oneness. But when the mind is challenged and programmed and made into a cult type of way of thinking, we see division, we see duality. This is the real problem we face in our society. Can we get back to the truth of who we are? When we get that, can we begin to expand that so that there's a lot more awareness of that, and then the harmony comes? And I see this all over the world. I mean, I've traveled, I've taught in 42 different countries, different races and obviously sexes, but also all kinds of tribal understandings. What I see is when people get our oneness, all the divisions go away. When people forget our oneness and we look at what tribe you're from, then we move into division, and we're no longer in the truth of who we are. The truth of who we are is the light of God. The truth of who we are is the love of God. The truth of who we are is the peace of God. And when we can connect with the deep peace, we then can open the door of understanding and experience for other people to know that we are the peace, we are the oneness. And then that brotherhood and sisterhood begins to emerge. It's a natural thing. It's not a political discussion. It's not one class versus another class. It's not all these different things that they're trying to make it. That's why Mao had to get rid of God in the discussion. If you read the Red Book, you really get the game plan. If you take God out of the equation, then you can say the state is what is, and then it sets the rules, and sets the divisions, and sets for what we call the Cultural Revolution and kill at least 60 million people. Because you can justify anything if you forget the truth. That's the key idea. So if we can go into amnesia about the truth rather than experiencing the truth, we will get optimum chaos and destruction. If we can remember how to reconnect with the truth of who we are and support people in reconnecting with that truth as our oneness, as the spark of the divine, then we will go into the next evolutionary stage, which is guaranteed to happen. Although we may have some bumps on the way, as much as we're seeing all this chaos from, it's not sustainable. And so where we go from that is if we can remember the truth of who we are, what's sustainable is the peace and harmony and the good feeling that comes from that connects us to the oneness. And in that way, our society around the world begins to get healed. May everybody remember the peace and truth of who we are. May we know our oneness, and in that play, create a non-political, spiritual oneness and the global mind. Peace be with you. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Taikyo Asan. Okay, go on into meditation.